Alright, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about challenge mode. Basically a complete guide of how to do all three challenge mode bosses that are available currently in Wizard101. And basically we're going to go over the rewards, why you would do this, and essentially how to defeat all these bosses. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. And let's get into it. So let's talk about challenge mode first. Like, what is challenge mode? Is basically a harder version of bosses that we already completed in the story mode. So essentially those bosses at the moment are Hall of Heroes, where you fight all 8 bosses at once, or it would be Storm Titan, where you fight the little Triton of the Storm Titan, or it might be Medulla from Imperia Part 1. So those are the only 3 at the moment. I'm pretty sure down the line we will get more. I think they wanted to just solidify with these 3 at the moment, because they would have to reevaluate all the other bosses, because they would want to scale it down to that level. So for example, down the line, if they introduced a Malister challenge mode for the Malister that you fight in the story mode within that whole dungeon, they would have to figure out a way of us getting scaled down to level 50. And on top of that, if it's doable with, and that's if they add more cheats, or if they add a Malicer that has 100k HP in that fight. A lot of things to consider, right? So down the line, I'm pretty sure we'll get more like the Jade Oni. A Jade Oni challenge mode would be really nice, and then just having where the OG fight where you fought 4 Onis at the same time, that would be interesting as well. But we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. So at the moment, we just currently have 3. Now, why would you do challenge mode? What's the reason behind this? So challenge mode essentially is a boss fight where it gives you, well, it's basically a harder version of the boss fight that you fought in the story mode, but the drops are essentially higher rate. Is there anything new that was added to the pool? Not really. Excluding Hall of Heroes. Hall of Heroes is kind of bugged at the moment. At the time I'm recording this video, you can't really do Hall of Heroes the proper way. So what I mean by that is you're not supposed to be able to use like Feint, Backdraft, Scald, Incendiate, that type of stuff in the fight. Just at the moment you're allowed to use that. You can still complete the challenge mode if you really want to, but you will not be receiving the badge. Now, why would that matter? If every time you finish the challenge mode for the first time on a new character, for example, let's say I have my Storm. I completed the challenge mode one time on Hall of Heroes, one time on Storm Titan, and one time on Medulla. For your first completion, you do get a gold key, which I feel like a lot of people would want to do. I mean, it's a free gold key. You're not really spending too much time to get it. Yeah, you're doing a boss fight, but if you're doing it with 3 other people, if you think about it, that's 4 gold keys right there. Now, let's say you want to do it on all 7 of your characters, for 1 for each school. If you think about it and you do each fight, that's 21 keys. That's a lot of keys. Now, let's say you do it with 4 other people every time, and they're all your friends, and you're just gonna spend that, spend those keys on spellman farming. Now do 21 times 4. That's 84 keys. Just think about that. You guys can just split those amongst yourself, then literally go ham and farm a bunch of spellman bosses to get more spellmans. So there's a viable reason of doing these challenge modes. Just one time though, I'd say, on each character. So definitely do the Medulla, the Storm Titan, and Hall of Heroes. But I would wait a little bit on the Hall of Heroes. Whenever Hall of Heroes gets updated, I'll leave a pinned comment in the comment below, and to let you guys know that it's fixed, because at the time I'm recording this, it is July 28th, 10 in the morning PST, and it's still not fixed. So you could definitely get drops from there, like the new drops, but you aren't getting the badge which people are going to strive for. So now that you know why you would do challenge mode, what the drops are, which are just the regular drop table, just higher drops. Other than Hall of Heroes getting pins added to the drop table and spellments, eventually down the line they'll add the spellments of like the previous worlds and toss them in there. Like I think they add like a certain amount of spellments from the previous worlds, and they'll just toss it in the drop pool, because at the moment Azteca and all the other previous worlds do not have spellments at the moment. So way down the line, like years come, they'll have more stuff in their pool. Just at the moment, they just don't have that much. So, how to defeat challenge mode? How to defeat all these bosses? They're really simple if you think about it. As the word challenge mode is very intimidating, really not for these challenge mode fights. Let's talk about Hall of Heroes first. I know at the moment it is bugged, so I can't give you a proper way of defeating it, but essentially is you just would do what you used to do in Hall of Heroes when it initially came out. But you wouldn't do the flee strat. That's essentially going to be patched by the time Hall of Heroes gets fixed, because at the moment, yes, he can join the fight and then flee and then come back. Yes, but it's not worth your time. It's really not, because even though you get increased drops, those drops aren't really worth your time, especially if you're max level. So it's better to just wait till it's fixed. But the proper way you want to defeat this is essentially just have 2 hitters, have 2 supports. A balance is preferable, and a life, maybe just for the heals. And you can use AoE heals and AoE hits in this fight. So you essentially just make sure you kill Shadow first. Once you kill Shadow, then you can change the bubble, because there is a damage cap bubble. So you can change that bubble to either a healing bubble or a damage bubble for your support or for your hitters. What we did was we changed the bubble to a damage bubble for our hitters, of course. So once you kill the left side, once you do the blade stack, same thing, change the aura, blade stack, just kill the left side, repeat the process. You do the same thing on the right side. So it's literally how the old challenge mode was, just instead of fleeing, you're just prolonging the fight. Highly recommend that you carry in powers. You definitely can put donate powers as well if you want to help the hitters get more pips. But I think empowers is like your best bet for this fight. Empowers are just super meta in this fight. Eventually they might rework empower down the line, because empower is kind of very meta in a lot of fights, because they haven't reevaluated self-inflicting cards such as Dark Pact and Empower, like those things that do damage on you, but they give you value in return. So down the line, who knows, they might reevaluate it. But at the moment, the strat is just, if you want to gain pips, you just empower. So just put a lot of empowers in your deck. Healer is just going to be healing. The support is just going to be blading the other 2 hitters, and then the hitters just keep spamming AoEs on left side till left side's gone, and then repeat the same process on the right side. Very simple fight. Definitely I'll have a video on challenge mode prior to this challenge mode, of course, the one that had like a dummy amount of cheats. That video will be coming soon. I just been a lot of editing through it, because it is like 2 hours worth of footage that I have to look through. So definitely wait on that whenever that comes out. Now that we got Hall of Heroes out of the way, how to do Storm Titan, or Storm Triton, as some may say. Same thing, it's the same original strat that you used to do for Storm Titan. You would essentially blade stack the last person so they can go for a Heck Hound. Now, a lot of people would say, well, Almond, you can't use Sharpened Blade. I get that. You can use other sources of blades. You can use TC blades. You can use Dragon Blade, I believe. There's a lot of other blades that you can use to essentially circumvent you using Sharpen. So you can use item cards. You can use pet cards. You can use all that type of stuff. Yeah, you can't use your will cast pet to help excel this fight. Yeah, you can't use feint. You can't use backdraft. You can definitely trap, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's definitely just easier to just go for the blade stack, and that's just what we did. There's probably many more strats that you can do in this fight, but we just went for the blade stack because it just felt more easier for us. So once you do the blade stack, and the last person, that which is the fire, goes for the Heck Hound. After that, once they takes the 3 ticks of the Heck Hound, because you have to reach a certain threshold on the Storm Titan 3 times, and basically the Triton's dead. Yes, the Storm Titan will summon minions, but you just ignore the minions, because if you kill the minions over and over, once you hit another tick, another 3 wave of minions will spawn. So to just deal with it, essentially, you just deal with the minions. Once the Storm Titan is gone and dead, you can just AoE the minions, and GG. That is the Storm Titan fight on challenge mode. Not too difficult, really. They do have interesting spells, of course. I do like that, and just that is like the easiest strat to do that fight. People will come up with other stuff, but this is just what we used, and it genuinely worked. So maybe down the line you know, people will find some other stuff. But like I said, that's what we're just using at the moment. So that's essentially the Storm Titan fight. Just blade stack and go for heck count. So keep that in mind. Now let's go to Medulla. Medulla is a weird one, I would say. It's a little bit more, I guess, of thinking, some may say. So when it comes to Medulla, you actually kind of do something similar to Storm Titan, but there are some RNG involved, I guess you would say, because Spark has new cheats. All these fights have new cheats, of course, but what caught me off guard is Spark has a cheat where he casts a balance scion, and from what I think I'm pretty sure it's the PvP balance scion. So if somebody is above 11 plus pips and you get hit with that scion, you are getting gassed and you are gonna die. As mad as that sounds. So I'm glad that they added new cheats in these fights, because without the new cheats, I feel like these are just gonna be the same old fights. So I'm glad Medulla's fight is a little bit more interesting. And yes, Medulla does have 125k HP instead of its regular HP. But it's very similar to what you do in this fight. Essentially, same thing. You blade stack the last person and you can go for an AoE. Best bet, what we did, was use Storm Squall or Lord Squall. It's essentially just Force Lord, just Storm version, and a lot of people use these in raids. It's essentially a treasure card that has like 900 to like 1,000 on its item card or on the treasure card, which is a lot of damage. So you do that, you go for the blade stack, and you try to kill all 3 of the supporting minions, which is Spark, Beans, and Pork. Once you kill them, they join your side and make the fight very easy. Yeah, you do have to deal with them, like you have to deal with the -50 smoke screen, so it ruins your accuracy. You do deal with some cheats between both of the enemies, but it's not too difficult. I mean, I'd say it's out of the 3, I'd say this is the one that's a little bit more difficult. I think definitely Storm Titan is probably the easiest, and then it goes Hall of Heroes, and then it goes Medulla, in my opinion, just because the Medulla one lasted us a little bit longer, which is kind of surprising to say, comparing it to Hall of Heroes, which has 8 bosses versus 4 for Medulla. But the cheats are more interesting in the Medulla fight, in my opinion, so that's why it's a little bit more, because of the fact that Spark does have a cheat where if you have, or it basically hits you with the scion, and if you have 11 plus pips, you're getting gassed. So just keep that in mind when doing this. But yeah, you go for the blade stack, you go for the squall, and that essentially kills all 3 minions. They join your side and help you accelerate this fight and essentially win. But Medulla is not going to be dying by this blade stacking method, so what you have to do is once you kill all 3 minions, they join your side. Now the only person that's left on the field is Medulla. It's your choice how you want to go about this, but we essentially went for a blade stack again, but into a Storm Scion, which is the PvP version. What the PvP version does is it will do double the damage, but it removes 4 blades on you. So you just cover all your blades with like duplicate blades. So if you had like a duplicate elemental blade, you would just stack that on the top of your blades, and it'll get rid of those, so you can still have all the other buffs that are underneath. It's a pretty good method that a lot of players use, and it will help you in this fight drastically, so highly recommend. Now let's say you don't kill even with a squall and a scion. That's why you keep extra hits. You know, you got to be an optimal player and have extra hits in your deck and not just rely on only carrying 2 hits. So in my case, I carried a shad, because depending on how long that fight is, you definitely are going to be gaining shads. So I kept a Rusalka in my deck just in case, and that helped, so we were able to kill Medulla. So just depends on how you are going to go about the strategy, but this is just what we use. Of course, down the line, you are going to find a lot of players say this strategy is better, this strategy is better, this strategy is better. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just showing you guys what we did, because it was the day one essentially. So people will optimize the strategies and make them better. But when we do find better strategies, I will definitely make more videos describing all these strategies if you guys are wanting to see that. But yeah, so Rusalka killed, and we got our drops and we got our badges. So that's basically how you do all the challenge mode fights. I know I didn't go in depth in a lot of the cheats, such as the Medulla fight. If you use an aura, you get aura popped, stuff like that. But if you just go for blade stacks, you kind of are fine. There's no cheats for having too many blades, which I feel like they should do that for one of the challenge modes down the line. If we ever get more challenge modes, definitely introduce a cheat where like it limits you on blades, or like it limits you on traps, or limits you on one of the hanging effects. That would be kind of interesting to see. Kind of makes more concept to those fights. Definitely would be looking forward to more challenge modes down the line, and I will be doing them whenever they come out. But I don't think we'll have any more challenge modes anytime soon. Probably not for like a year or two, just because they are going to be focusing on Wallaroo, that is going to be coming out later this year. So just keep that in mind, and don't expect challenge modes to come out very often. I would love it, but at the moment we got the raid to deal with, and Wallaroo coming later this year. But that is basically it for today's video. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you guys haven't joined the Discord down below, appreciate all the people that have been joining from the previous videos, and just whenever they want, they can always ask me questions in the Discord. A lot of people have been messaging me here and there and asking questions regarding Wiz, whether it be like what to use, or what's the best strategy for certain fights, or should I use this set or this set. I give you guys my opinion. Of course, people are gonna have their own opinion, right? So just because I give you my opinion, you shouldn't go based upon it and be like, Almond's opinion is right. No. Just because I use it, that's because I personally use it. Like, for example, I like using max damage builds in regular PvE. Some people don't, you know? It just depends on the player and what kind of strategies you want to do. So yeah, but I appreciate all the people that have been joining regardless, and I appreciate all the people that have been joining the Twitch chat. We've been getting like 30 or 40 viewers almost every stream, which is crazy to think about. Like, never imagined that anytime soon. Like, I've been like averaging like 5, right? 5 or like 6. It's crazy. We're like going up in numbers either on the YouTube channel or anywhere else. So appreciate you guys. Other than that, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.